Hey guys, it's Ken from KBDProductionsTV. I wanted to go for a bike ride today, but I noticed that there is, last time I went for a ride, my tire was making a kind of a bump noise as if I was riding over cracks on the road. And so I looked at my tire a little bit closer, and I noticed that there's a frayed mark right there, and it's starting to bulge out, and that's what was making the thumping noise as I was riding my bike. So I've changed tires before, but I'm never sure if I was actually doing it right or if there's any tricks to the trade. So I called my buddy from the mobile bike shop. His name's Troy, and I think he's here right now. And he actually comes to your house. Oh, there he is right there. He's pulling in. Let's go say hi to Troy. Hey Troy.
Hi Ken, how are you?
All right, how you doing?
Good, thanks. Nice to see you
Excellent.
again.
Nice to see you. Come check out my problems.
All right, let's have a look.
So there's my bike.
Okay.
And like I said, there's my worn out spot.
Absolutely.
And sort of bulging it, and that's what was making the thudding noise when I was riding. And I thought it was cracks in the road, but
Yes.
anyway, so I thought I'd change my tire, but if you could show me any tricks of the trade or see what I'm doing right or wrong, that would be awesome.
Will do.
Excellent.
So,
So I guess the first thing we do is release the brakes.
yes. Yep.
So we release the brakes, and then we do the quick release. Just correct any of my terminology, just in case I get something wrong. Just pop that off.
Let's set this off to the side.
Tire drop out. Again, there's my nasty little worn out. That's just wear, eh? Wear and tear.
Yes.
It's not like an injury or damage from a problem or.
No, because looking at the tread pattern, it's worn down quite a bit, so we got a lot of
Yeah.
kilometers on these tires.
Yes. Okay, so we let the air out. That's cold. Okay, so we use our tire irons. This is the first tool we'll use, right?
Yes, tire irons, tire levers.
Tire levers, yeah, that's the other. So these are the tire levers. And you need probably two every single time, right?
Yeah, you can use 2 to 3, depending on how new the tire is. It'll be a lot tighter, won't be as loose, or how many times you've had to change a flat.
Yeah.
The more times you've changed a flat, the more times you'll have stretched the tire a bit to take it on and off.
Okay.
So there's varying shapes and sizes. These particular ones are made out of a plastic and nylon, so it's easier on the rim. There's other ones that are made of metal, but you do have to be careful it doesn't scratch or tear the tube. So this end you would use to pry under the around under the tire.
Okay.
And this end is designed to hook into the spoke.
And I've had these for years, and I had no idea that's what that was for. I'd actually hook it into the tire and try to pull it off.
Around.
I did use this side because this obviously seemed more sensible, but let's give it a shot.
So the idea is to get it in under the tire, under the edge of the tire, and gently lift it up, trying not to grab the tube.
Okay.
If you want to try to use or reuse the tube.
Okay.
Some are loose enough that you can grab it and just start sliding it around the rim to pry it off. Some of them, if they're a little tight, you can hook it onto the spoke or hold it, because
Okay.
you do have bladed spokes. So not only can you pull, sometimes pushing it along, just get it started off.
There you go.
So what we've done is held one in place, and I've hooked the second one under. I'm just going to push it around the rim,
Okay.
and you can even take this one out. Again, on the side of the road, watch where you set everything, because it could be in the long grass,
Right.
gravel. And again, just
It's
keep,
that initial getting it off that rim is the
yes.
crazy part.
And these tires are under a lot of pressure too, so they're sometimes 110, 115, or even 120
Yeah.
pounds per square inch.
I think this one's rated high.
It's really important to keep, especially with these type of tires and wheels, style of bike, to keep that pressure up in its range.
Yeah. This is 115 to 125.
Yeah.
These are called armadillos. When I was blowing tires a lot a few years back, and so the store manager recommended me going to these because they're Kevlar,
Yes.
supposedly, and the back tire has lasted quite a long time. This is the first time I've changed this in a while, and I didn't want to change them both until this was worn out, which is now.
Yes. And that's why you want to keep that upper end pressure, because then the harder the tire is, the less it's more resilient to puncture.
Oh, okay.
And if it was for a flat, the key to do is also when you take the tube out or the tire off, if it is for a flat, try and find, if you can't find where it punctured from the outside, once you find it in the tube, you can relate back to the valve to look along the tire on the inside, look for what punctured the tire, whether it's some glass, piece of wire, staple, anything, and you can use the tube to help.
I love staples.
That. Then just carefully taking the tube out. Again, if you were to reuse it, you'd want to take it out carefully.
I'm not going to use this one.
Just pull the tire back a bit.
So this is how you change just the tube if you're taking a tube or putting a new tube in. You wouldn't take the whole tire off to put a tube on, right?
No,
you just
don't
do what you just did.
Actually, you can stop right there.
Right.
And then you would leave this hooked on.
Mm-hmm.
Find where the leak happened in this tube.
Oh, to patch this, just in case you needed a patch, right?
Yeah, so when you find the hole here, make sure that what caused the hole is gone. If it was a piece of metal or glass through.
Okay.
'Cause as soon as you put your new tire in and you fill it back up, it's going to puncture again.
Right.
So it's good to put the hand through, find out whether it's... And again, looking at the tube, if the puncture's on the inside, it's likely a spoke or something on the inside.
Right.
If the puncture's on the outside, it came from the road surface. And again, once you've got this off, you can simply just muscle it off. You don't need the tire levers.
Okay.
And there you go.
Awesome.
2 pieces.
Excellent. So this is garbage. Okay, so this is our new one.
Yes.
Getting this on, is it the first rim a little bit harder than the second edge?
It will be. And again, these are brand new, so they're going to be a little tighter. They haven't been stretched and worn over time.
Okay. So what's the tape for?
The tape is to actually a couple purposes. To protect the tube from the holes in the rim where there's a spoke nipple on the inside that threads onto the spoke to give you the tension to keep the hub and the wheel centered inside the rim.
Okay.
That protects it so there's no sharp edges to cut.
And would you put this on first or the tube?
You'd start by taking the tire and putting the first, just as when we took it off, put the first side of the tire on. Start working it around the edge.
Until you get to the difficult side.
That's right. And this way. This is probably, it'll go on. Just work your way around with your thumb, just working it in place.
It's on?
And now that side is on.
Oh, excellent.
If you're changing a tire for a friend, some good bonus points. On each tire, it's got the dimensions.
I think it was here.
And on this side, it has the PSI.
Yeah, so keep it between 115 and 125?
Yes. Well, the other good, again, to score points for is there's where the valve's going to come out.
Oh, awesome.
So put the PSI by the valve.
That's awesome. That's a great idea.
So when you roll into a gas station or you're filling up,
it's right there.
Yep.
Okay, so here's my tube. And I guess the first thing we do is take that off. And we take this, what would you call that?
Just a little nut.
A nut.
That goes on
So put that there. Just to put a little bit of air into the...
Yeah, it's going to add a little bit of air just to give the tube some shape to when you set it inside the tire.
Like that?
Yes. And we'll just tighten up the little nut on the end of the valve. We'll insert the valve. And this is where that other little nut comes in. So once you put the valve in, you can pull it through.
And it's always best to put it, start putting it up inside the tire from this side of the wheel as opposed to this side of the wheel, right?
That's correct.
Yes. It's easier that way, I'd imagine.
And
you said pinch it between your...
I think it's easiest to work on it
like this.
Putting it in your lap.
Just get it up into the tire. There we go. It's almost all in. This one actually has a powder on it, doesn't it?
So I've heard that's a tip I've been given from when I was doing a charity ride, is to take a little bit of talcum powder or baby powder.
Yeah.
And what it does, it just creates a dry lubricant between the tube and the tire.
Excellent.
So when they're moving around, and it's mostly for
a little bit of powder on this one.
Yep.
Okay.
And again, I always use, no matter what I'm working on a tire, I was always using the valve as a point of reference, a starting point to work from.
Would you put the nut on now?
You can.
Just to stop it from moving around?
An important thing, especially with these type of valves and the other traditional, the Schrader valves, just putting that on, is keeping it perpendicular to that section of the rim coming straight out. Because if there is any bit of an angle to it, over time of riding, you're going to weaken where the stem meets the tube. You can, again, paying attention, watching, even feeling for the tube in the rim, because what can happen is the tire, they're very hard and sharp, and the rim can actually act like scissors and cut the tube and create a puncture.
Right.
So Again, start working the tire around, trying to seat it inside, and watching so you don't get pinch.
Right. So put the tube in first, then try to get the rim on.
Yeah, just work your way around. And you can hold that side, start working on this way. Again, just leading it, keeping the tube inside. Because right there, if we keep going, I use tools to take off, but just bare hand to put it back on.
Oh, really? You won't need them to use...
Nope.
Okay.
Nope. It'll be the last few inches that will be hard.
Yeah.
And
but there's a technique, is there?
Again,
because I don't know it.
You're just using your hands and grabbing and rolling the tire over.
Okay.
And if it does get
push it, or
yeah, so I'm using the inside of my fingers on the tire, pushing it and grabbing the tire and rolling it over, and just using my thumbs to push on the edge here. If it really gets tight and stuck, there are some products out there that you can buy to put on that just loosens, lets it slip over a little easier.
Okay.
Or you can use a rubbing alcohol. So I'm just going to use a little bit of that rubbing alcohol.
Okay.
Just a little bit there.
It doesn't matter going inside the tire.
No, it'll evaporate.
Okay. Troy also works for CAA, which is the Canadian Automobile Association, and if you have a CAA membership, do you have to buy an extended one for cycling, or is it just part of your car?
It's part of the membership on the person.
Okay.
So whether it's car or bicycle, you're covered. There's no extra fee.
Excellent. So I can actually phone up CAA with my CAA card, say I'm broken down with my bike, and a mobile bike shop will come by and help me out.
Yep. They're also
That's awesome.
using light-duty service vehicles. They'll come out as well, and they'll try and fix your flat, broken chain, tighten a loose
It's like
part.
a tow truck.
Yes.
Yeah.
Or they're also they have the Ford or even the Mazda little pickup trucks.
Oh, okay.
Yep. The guys they use for boosting and lockout.
Right. Okay.
They can also come and assist you with the bicycle.
Excellent.
And if they can't fix it on the side of the road, then you can use one of your tows, and they'll transport you, your bicycle, home, work, a bike shop,
excellent.
wherever you need to go.
That's great. So let me try it my way.
Yep.
Okay, so this is the way I usually do it. So I put my tire iron in there and just slowly bring it towards me without breaking my hand. Oh, there we go. Oh, crazy muscle man power there.
You're hired.
Hey, I got a job. So let's throw it back on my bike.
You can have a look around the edge. Make sure that it's, and you can feel it with your hand.
Feel it right now,
Make
right?
sure it's all seated properly. Because what can happen if it's out too far, when you pump it up, you can blow it off.
Okay.
So what we can do is put a
Let's
bit of...
make sure it's all perfectly centered.
Yeah, so you put some air in it now, and we'll get it up to some pressure.
Make sure you're... I guess that's a... How tight should that not be?
It should just be just so it's
Just
just
finger
snug.
tight?
Yes. Yep.
And same with this one?
So just finger tight.
Excellent. Let me throw that back on my bike.
Okay.
So how many people do you know that put these back on?
The little caps?
Yeah. Like, I guess pro cyclists don't put those on, do they?
The little, like a dust cap, it's not as important on this style of valve, because these are designed so with the threading and the nut on the outside to not allow dirt to get into them.
Okay.
With the other style that's like on the car or the Schrader style, if dirt gets inside that valve, it can actually press the little needle down and let air out of your tire.
Right.
So on those style, this is very important. But on these particular ones, it's not required.
Okay. Let's throw that back on.
Okay.
And how tight do you usually put these on?
Just snug.
Just snug, so once I get it to that point where I lock down. And is it always good to have this pointing towards the bike like that? That way it doesn't get hooked on something while you're
That's
riding?
exactly what, yes. Especially even in off-road, if depending on where the lever is, it could catch on twigs, brush, anything like that. You want it tucked away in nice, again, can be for aerodynamics, keeping it tucked in so it doesn't catch on anything and come out on it.
And always make sure your brakes are engaged again, right?
spin.
Nice. And
Good
it's,
job.
I just remembered some wheels need to be on a certain way, right? Because the way they are, what you call it,
The tread
pattern. Yeah.
And again, that will be an arrow that's on the side of the rim. You can always have to look for that. Make sure that the tire is spinning the right way.
And what about the hub? Does it matter which way that is? Like, does this need to be on this side or the other side, or does it matter? It's all about the wheel.
It's with the wheel, but also too, like you have a quick release on the back as well, typically on the same side.
Okay.
Again, just for maintenance purposes.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Troy.
Thank you, Ken.
Can't wait to get back on the road again.
All right.
Thanks a
Enjoy your
lot.
ride. Thank you.
See you guys.
See ya.